First off, my apologies for the glare in yesterday's NXT and SmackDown video. I was really interested in getting the video done and getting the video out to you guys, so I neglected to do my normal lighting situation. But, as you can see, that's been fixed. So, Sir and Disney here are going to talk a little bit about last night's edition of Monday Night Raw, which would be the go-home show to Hell in a Cell, which is coming up this Sunday on pay-per-view. And this was how you do a go-home show. This is exactly how you do a go-home show. This actually got me excited for the pay-per-view. Something that I really wasn't the last several weeks. This is just normally a filler pay-per-view, as we're leading towards the last big pay-per-view of the year, which is the Survivor Series next month. And then, of course, our next big pay-per-view after that is the Royal Rumble in January. No, in between these so-called filler pay-per-views, it's been kind of like, okay, fine, if they are good, cool. If not, hey, I'm only paying $9.99 a month for them, so it doesn't really matter. Now, let's talk about Raw, shall we? Raw actually kicked off with the Hell in a Cell high above the ring, and we're in Kansas City, by the way. The cell started to drop as the Authority came out to the ring. Stephanie was not there, but Triple H, Randy Orton, Kane, and Mr. Money in the Bank Seth Rollins came out. Triple H says this will be an epic night the Authority will be proud of, obviously. Hell is hanging over John Cena and Dean Ambrose, and they will go straight to hell in a cell on Sunday. See, being inside the cell changes your life. You don't win a match, you simply survive. The cell will be the end of two heated rivalries. See, Rollins likes Mr. Money in the Bank as a moniker, and he thinks it has a nice ring to it, but he has an idea of his own nickname, and in this case, he's going to come up with the name of the Undisputed Future of the WWE. But the key word here is future. And that's something Dean Ambrose will no longer have when he gets defeated inside the cell on Sunday. Randy Orton, of course, hears the word future, and he has to retort and say the true main event will end a decade-long rivalry between myself and John Cena once and for all. This was obviously brought up by the fact that Rollins made mention that this would be the main event, his match with Ambrose. Randy Orton takes offense to this and says, you know what, the main event is going to be between two superstars who have been the stars of this era of WWE. So, Triple H is trying to make them both happy and says, you know what, how about we do a double main event? And it's going to be a double main event, so it doesn't matter which one goes on first or which one goes on last. In the double main event, it's going to be both four competitors involved in the main event one way or another. See, there's going to be an added stipulation that was not mentioned previously. When there was a contract to determine who was going to face off against Seth Rollins. No briefcase on the line, at least not yet, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen unless they pull a fast one on SmackDown and do it. They should have done it tonight on Raw, but they didn't, so I'm going to guess they're not going to put the case on the line. It's just going to be Ambrose and Rollins trying to rip each other's heads off. Literally and figuratively. I put literatively as a word. It's not even a word, folks. Sorry, it's what happens when you don't edit. So, basically, the winner of the John Cena-Randy Orton match, which is looked upon as the consolation prize, or the Battle of the Losers, will actually get an opportunity to face Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship at an undisclosed location in an undisclosed amount of time. So yeah, Dean Ambrose, if he would have lost to John Cena, he would have been put in a match with Randy Orton to determine who's the #1 contender, and not facing off against Seth Rollins in a match that means almost nothing for anything more than just two guys that want to beat the daylights out of each other. Makes sense. So yeah, they're just going to give the winner of Cena-Orton a crack against Lesnar, which basically makes this losers match a lot more on the line, which makes perfect sense. And trying to justify why it'll probably be your main event on Sunday night. So, Randy Orton says he's going to make Triple H proud. And then he's going to go on and beat John Cena, and then he's going to do the impossible and be the one to beat the one behind 21-1 Brock Lesnar. Well, no one really takes Orton very seriously there. See, basically in this case, the Authority are hinging their bets on everyone in one form or another. If Kane can't get the job done, which won't happen, Randy Orton will get the job done. And if Randy Orton can't get the job done, then you look towards the future, and that is Mr. Money in the Bank. Obviously, he's got that briefcase looming high above the winner of the World Heavyweight Championship match, whenever that does come down. And Triple H says that he's going to watch as all three of them make the Authority proud because it's what's best for business. Triple H's music hits, and it gets interrupted immediately by Kane's pyro and Kane's music. Interesting. So we set up our main event, which is a 3-on-2 handicap street fight. And I immediately get unexcited, but hopefully the rest of the show will sell me on it. Sell me on the sell. Yeah, I know. So we get a rematch from SmackDown, just like I believe was going to happen. It is United States Champion Sheamus teaming up with Jimmy and Jey Uso, taking on The Miz, with Damien Sandow in his corner, of course, since he is the stunt double. And he is teaming with the WWE Tag Team Champions Goldust and Stardust. Now, before the match starts, Miz is like, you know what? Sandow, you can do my light work. So he goes off to the broadcast booth, and Damien Sandow takes his place, to the delight of the crowd, actually. We pick it up off the commercial break. Goldust hits a spine buster off the ropes, 1-2, and a kick out. Tagging to Stardust. Stardust comes in, choke with the knee, and tag back into Sandow. Side headbutt, right hand, and a reverse DDT to the knee into the old Steve Corino old school expulsion, 1-2, and a kick out. Charges in, he gets the boots up, does the Uso, but tagging to Stardust. Stardust comes in and makes a cover on the Uso in the ring. Thank you, commentators, for not mentioning one time if it was Jimmy or Jey in the ring. I appreciate that. 1-2 and a kick out. So he stomps him off the ropes, tags in Goldust. Goldust comes in with the right hand. It gets blocked. 2 right hands from the Uso and gets stopped with a boot, drop down uppercut, and Uso, of course, catches Goldust with the enziguri. Out of nowhere, Goldust tags in Sandow and hot tag to Sheamus. So axe handle, charging shoulder, and high running knee. Smartly knocks Stardust off the ring apron for good measure. Charging knee, tosses Sandow over the top to the floor. He lands on the apron, though, and he catches Sheamus with a neck snap. And he ends up getting caught with an over-the-shoulder power slam anyway, and Goldust makes a save before the 3. So ducks Uso's clothesline. Samoa Joe-style snap power slam on the Uso. Uso stands up, super kicks Goldust. Stardust charges in. He gets tossed out to the floor. And Samoan suicide dive to everybody on the floor. Meanwhile, Stardust climbs to the middle rope and falls off with an ST plunge. I guess that's called the Falling Star now. Must have been coined that while I was on vacation. Sheamus dumps Sandow over the top to the floor. Sheamus dives on absolutely everyone. And he tosses Sandow in the ring. Stardust comes in out of nowhere, goes for the beautiful disaster. Sheamus ducks out of the way, and brogue kick to Stardust. Sandow rolls him up from behind, hooks the tights, 1, 2, 3, and Damien Mizdow steals the win over the United States Champion, and the Miz celebrates like he was the one who won, because obviously it was his stunt double that won, so in essence, he thinks he won the match. Okay, I like this. I like the way this finished. I think this is probably going to end up being the fact that Sandow's going to cost the Miz inadvertently the match on Sunday, and Sheamus will retain. I'm not really a fan of Sheamus retaining, but I'm guessing this is going to lead to more dissension in the ranks between The Miz and his quote-unquote stunt double. I think they need to continue this as much as they can. They need to tease some apprehension between the two, but they don't need to really go through with it. They don't need to follow through until they eliminate each other at the Royal Rumble this year. It could go either way, and I think we have a nice little program. Who knows, maybe Miz and Sandow at WrestleMania. I wouldn't have a problem with that because neither of them have anything going on. So, after we get to this, we have an elimination at the Rumble, leads to more dissension, and finally the Miz turns on Sandow. Fans, of course, are already on Sandow's side, and they want to see him give the Miz what for, and that's exactly what I see happening at WrestleMania. I think that's probably the direction we're going, and I think that's the right direction to be going. Uso go through the motions, as always. Thank you, commentators, for not telling me if it was Jimmy or Jay in the ring. I can't tell them apart. I'm sorry, they were twins. And I know one has one side of face paint on one side, but they wear the same face paint. It helped on SmackDown because Stardust ripped off Jimmy's shirt, or Jay's shirt in this case, so I knew which one was which this match. Thank you, commentating team, for not ever mentioning who it was. But this worked just fine because with Sandow getting the pin, obviously he's not in the match on Sunday. So, Sheamus losing wasn't a big deal, and it still could lead towards Sheamus winning on Sunday, and I think he will retain the United States Championship on Sunday. Nothing in the Stardust and Goldust against the Usos battle. I think the champions will retain. I think that's the right direction to go, and I think after the match is over, I would send Connor and Victor out and have them destroy all four guys and make their presence known right away. I think the Ascension are the cure to the common tag team match in WWE, and I really think that's the right direction to send at this point. I think that after the match is over, regardless who wins, whether it's Goldust and Stardust retaining, or it's the Usos getting the titles back, I would say that you sick the Ascension on all four men, showing they have no allegiance to either face or heel. They're just kind of world beaters. They're just like the old school acolytes of old. That's exactly what they are. They're basically the New Age acolytes is pretty much what they're going to be. And I'm sure that JBL can hype that up like crazy on commentary. So that would work pretty well. And I really think that's just what the doctor ordered to call out to the stagnant state that the tag team division is in right now. And who knows what's going to happen with the tag division in the next couple of months. It's, like I said, it's kind of on life support right now. I think the Ascension are just the blood that needs to be injected in so we can get a more cohesive tag team division, which is what we've been lacking for quite a long time. So Triple H and Randy Orton are talking in the back, and Randy Orton says he's going to be the guy that's going to beat Brock Lesnar. And when Triple H hears this, he's like, I like this idea, but you know what? I just gotta tell you, I gotta be completely honest with you, Randy, this wasn't my idea. This was all Seth's idea. And Orton seems taken aback by that. He's like, really? Why would he want to do that? But it was a good idea, wasn't it? And he's like, you know what? I need to find Seth personally and give him thanks, my personal thanks. We had a very, very creepy Wyatt promo focusing on Luke Harper and Eric Rowan being freed, being set free by the patriarch himself, Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt also saying, it's coming. It's coming. Smoke, desolation, and damnation. Not of Smog, but of the Wyatt family. And I'm really interested to see what's going to happen when all three are sicked on the roster as singles competitors. No common bond anymore. There's not going to be any Wyatt in the corner of Rowan or Harper. It's not going to be Rowan and Harper as a tag team again. It's going to be all three, and they're going to be out to see who can get the most singles dominance. I really think this is where Luke Harper is going to shine. Luke Harper is a diamond in the rough, and they really need to do something with him. Bray Wyatt's the same way. Eric Rowan, you're really going to have to prove something to me, honestly. I don't have a problem with him personally. He's okay in short bursts, but the singles matches haven't been very solid, and I'm interested to see if he's going to fly or if he's going to fall, and it could go either way at this point. I think that the program should work pretty well to determine who he's going to work with. This obviously does not let the Wyatts work with the Ascension, which I wanted to see, but I guess they're going to go a completely different direction, and I'm interested to see what they do with this. I think there is a good chance, not a great chance, but a good chance, probably maybe a 20-30% chance to see the Wyatts in one form or another at the pay-per-view on Sunday at Hell in a Cell. If not Sunday, I almost guarantee you see Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, and Luke Harper on Raw this coming Monday night. the night after Hell in a Cell. And that's, of course, we begin our build of Survivor Series. I think that's exactly the right direction to go at this point. AJ Lee in action, non-titles match, your Divas Champion, taking on Alicia Fox. Of course, Paige is at ringside for this match. We pick it up midway through. This was a little bit longer than normal. Northern Light suplex, 1-2, and a kick out. She locks on the chin lock, and AJ tries to escape and gets taken down by the hair, slammed face first into the canvas, and basically Foxy reading her the riot act and just yelling, like, I don't like you, I absolutely hate you. And she got her nice standing tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, got a 2 off of that. Chin lock and clubs to the back, puts her in the corner, and foot choke. AJ gets both feet up in the face of Foxy when she charges in and catches her with a Luthez press, charging clothesline in the corner, reverse neck breaker, ducks the clothesline, satellite head scissors takeover, sends Fox to the floor, and this allows Paige and Fox to go after each other. And this was kind of a strange thing to see. Paige throws Fox back in the ring, and AJ's like, what's going on here? And then Paige distracts AJ, and AJ ends up getting rolled up from behind, 1, 2, 3, and Alicia Fox wins the match. So, yeah, the new friends group here of Paige and Alicia Fox pulled a fast one over on the Divas Champion. AJ Lee and Paige officially announced yesterday for Hell in a Cell for the Divas Championship. I think that that's going to be a fun match, and with AJ losing, I honestly see no way around it. AJ's going to retain on Sunday, and I think that's probably what should happen. So Randy Orton is walking in the back, and of course he walks into Seth Rollins' locker room like he owns the place. He's like, you know what, why, Seth? Why did you do that? Why did you even try to throw out the olive branch to me? And Seth says, you know what, I'm a team player, Randy. And Orton's like, that's fine, but I don't play well with others, and I can take care of myself. And if you somehow get a miracle and you beat Brock Lesnar, Rollins basically says to Randy Orton that, holding the briefcase up in the air, of course, the future kind of takes care of itself. Randy Orton agrees with him. So more dissension in the ranks of the Authority between Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. I love the direction this is going, and I think this is the most motivated we've seen Randy Orton in a long time. Say what you want about his being stagnant, and there's a case for this. But when it all is said and done, I think that Randy Orton is starting to get a rebirth in his career. Now, his rebirth may end up making him leave and joining another company, but that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that if his contract ever runs out and WWE decides, like, peace out, Randy. But no, I don't think that's going to happen, because Randy Orton has had a lot invested into him, money and time, of course. And because of that, I think Randy Orton will be with the company for a while. If that is not the case, I do think someone else comes calling eventually. But again, we'll talk about that when it happens. Randy Orton decides he wants to come out to the ring and voice his piece here. He says that there's already been a Hell in a Cell match between Randy Orton and John Cena, and we all know who came out on top. And we take us all the way back to the golden years of 2002, when both John Cena and Randy Orton debuted. Cena, of course, just a punk kid from Boston coming straight out of UPW, and Randy Orton was a third-generation athlete, obviously being talked up at every course. There was Hogan and Piper, there was Brett and Shawn Michaels, there was The Rock and Austin, and there was John Cena and Randy Orton. They're all the stars of their respective generations of WWE. John simply put, Randy does respect him, but he's better. Orton says he's simply better than John Cena, and Cena doesn't belong in the ring with him. You can shove hustle, loyalty, and respect straight up your ass. See, we go back to January, of course, and he says, you know what, I beat you at the Royal Rumble, and I'll do it again on Sunday, and then I'll go on to face the Beast. And here comes John Cena. So Cena erupts and says, shut up. Just shut up, stop running your mouth. You know what, you got no chance on Sunday. He calls John Cena calls Randy Orton the biggest dumbass alive. So Cena starts talking about old man things. I'm just an old man, I don't know what I'm doing. 15 people that watch this video will get that. Anyway, you're welcome. So, basically, he was talking about, like, back in my day, we used to go up the hill and everything, and he goes into the old man voice, or my Wilbur Atkinson voice. a shout out to people that don't watch this video. I will say that it actually made Randy Orton legitimately start laughing, and I don't think that was any sort of scripting. I think he just laughed because he got caught off guard what Cena was saying. I guess it's that hanging out with Judd Apatow thing. Yeah, that's going to make me dislike John Cena. Anyway, he basically says that 2002, you like to talk about that? Well, that's the last time you were relevant. John Cena, look in the mirror. You got no chance on Sunday. Simply put, I got my eyes on you, Randy, because I want to fight the Beast, and I know I have to get through you in order to do so. When I see you in the ring, I'll see Brock Lesnar on Sunday. You'll go face to face with the man who runs this place, and I'm bringing hell with me. Here comes Paul Heyman, auspicious by his absence the last several weeks. He says the class of 2002 featured Randy Orton, John Cena, and don't forget about Brock Lesnar, who of course defeated The Rock to become the World Heavyweight Champion. Well, it's ironic that the champion in 2002 is still the champion in 2014. This Sunday you will enter Hell in a Cell to win, and you will define your legacies, especially against each other. See, my client is no equal. The winner is the ultimate loser, because you have to step in the ring with my beast. Orton, I respect you. Completely I do. But you don't want any part of my beast. See, Cena, though, you want both. And if you somehow manage to get by Randy Orton, which you won't, then you step in the ring with my challenger-eating carnivore. He picks up Heyman, going for the AA. Heyman begs for his life, and Cena just shortly sets him down. And this allows Cena to get distracted. Randy Orton hits the RKO. He says, "Who's stupid now?" So he talks all nicey nice with Heyman, and completely out of nowhere, RKO to Paul Heyman. Leaves him laying, says, "Who's the dumbass now?" Randy Orton stands tall. I like this. I like this a lot. It's playing up the vines that we've been getting a lot. These RKOs out of nowhere vines that I'm seeing. Absolutely hilarious if you get a chance to watch them. But the thing is, this is playing up really well that Randy Orton and John Cena has a point now. It's not just a loser's match. It's not just a match between two superstars and need to not ever have a match again against one another. No, this is a match that actually has a reason to happen. It's because if the winner wins, obviously, and of course the winner wins because that's how it works, winners win, whomever wins gets the shot at the WWE Championship. And Paul Heyman had to interject, and Randy Orton RKO'd Paul Heyman, so obviously Brock Lesnar is going to have something to say about that eventually down the line. Given the fact that all three men, even though obviously Cena started out in UPW first, working with Rick Bassman, I would honestly say that all three kind of made their start in Ohio Valley Wrestling. And this is going to be a battle between people that know each other very well, and a battle between OVW, like, icons, basically. And I'm really interested to see where we go with this, because if you look at the WWE calendar, Survivor Series this year is in St. Louis. Where's Randy Orton from? Yeah, so you have Orton beat Cena on Sunday, and then, and only then, you have Orton go on to face Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. Orton beats Lesnar, Rollins cashes in on Randy Orton and takes the championship, thus turning Randy Orton face. I think Randy Orton is going to turn face very, very soon, and I think that he's going to be excommunicated from the Authority. I think that a smart move would happen. You kick him out and then do what I wanted to see done with Kane, but unfortunately did not happen. I would have him get kicked out of the Authority, and the person that does it would be the newest member of the Authority. Now, I would put serious faith and serious stock into one of two people joining the Authority. One of which, obviously, is not going to happen because he's got his own plans right now, and that's Rusev. That's not going to happen. But the other one would be a newly heel-turned Sheamus, and I think that would probably be the right direction, because obviously he's a Triple H guy. Everyone knows that. But yeah, I like this for what it was. Randy Orton stands tall, and that was a good way to end the show. It really was, honestly. But we're not done yet. We're not even close to being done yet. Excuse me. Rusev comes out against Big E. These two had a tremendous pay-per-view match earlier this year. Had a couple of them, actually. And this match was not as long as it normally was. Big E hits the Vader attack. Rusev gets knocked loopy all the way out to the floor. So Big E goes in and chases him out. Gut shot, sends Rusev into the barricade, tosses him in, gut shot, knee lift, and 2 big shoulders in the corner, and he charges in, and he gets kicked straight from Rusev. Headbutt, double axe handle to the back, locks in a front face lock, turns it into a chin lock, and Big E elbows out, comes off the ropes, gets mowed over with a back elbow. 3 vicious stomps from Rusev, right hand, ducks the kick, and leapfrog by Big E, tosses him up to the ropes, kicks him straight in the chest, catches him with an awkward spinning heel kick, and we come back to live action. The under chin lock that he's been locking on lately basically gets judo tossed off, and overhead release belly-to-belly suplex, charges in and eats the Muay Thai kick, stomp to the back, accolade, done the party. So, after the match is over, Lana gets on the mic and says the Big Show doesn't deserve to be a hero. He deserves to be in a circus, rolling around in his own excrement. I laughed at this. Rusev says, I'm going to rip your giant heart out and devour it. Interesting. You will fail, and you will be despised for it. They set up for the flag to drop, and it doesn't. Big Show's on the Tron. He's smiling. The American flag drops. Very patriotic music that I remember hearing at the, God, long day. In the Carousel of Progress. I believe it's Star Spangled Banner, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm not big on my patriotic music, so I think that's pretty sure that's what it was. Rusev grabs the flag. So when Rusev grabs the flag, this plant slides in the ring, which, if you notice on camera, he kind of was let over the barricade, so you knew something was not on the up and up. He's wearing, like, military fatigues, like an army uniform, but on further inspection, he's not wearing it right. It's like the American flag, I guess, is on the wrong arm or something like that, because apparently it's extremely illegal to misrepresent yourself as an American soldier. I don't know anything about this stuff. And he gets in the ring because, of course, his flag is being desecrated. Yeah, what happened when Big Show desecrated the Russian flag on SmackDown? Anyway, turnabout is fair play. So, he's about to pull the flag down, and this guy gets under the ropes. And, of course, if you've been in the wrestling business, or if you're not in the wrestling business, the fact remains of this. If you come over the barricade, or you get in the ring, if you make it in the ring, it is our job to knock you out of it. And no legal system in the world will ever convict anyone who's just defending themselves. Why? Because you paid your money to be a part of the show as a fan. You did not pay your money to be part of the show as in, let's hit the ring and try to attack the hot heel in the center of the ring to get some props on Twitter from your good friends. Now, obviously, this was a plan, so this is basically me just giving you a public service announcement. Don't go over the barricade. Because the second you hit the ring, we're allowed to hit you. And we will. And I have before. So, yeah, don't do that. If you're a fan watching the show, and you're drinking, and you're having a good time, and your favorite wrestler is losing by the guy you hate the most, and you want to throw a beer at him, we get that. That's fine. It's happened. I've had that happen to me before. But if you put your hands on a competitor and you are not part of the show yourself and you are trying to make yourself part of the show, you will probably not only get knocked cold, but you're probably going to spend a night in jail. Yes, because that does happen sometimes. You're at least getting thrown out of the building for sure. It just depends on what you've done in the past. Fact remains, if you're watching the show and you think about getting involved, don't. Just use common sense. If you think it's a good idea to hit your least favorite wrestler, don't do it. Seriously, just think about it. Think about how the food's going to taste in jail. Anyway, that may be a little extreme, but I'm being honest with you guys, basically saying that if you hit one of us, we're going to hit you back. So, that's what happens. Even though it was a plant that did it and it wasn't an actual fan, it was still something that fans saw and very impressionable fans saw. So that's my Suro and Disney public service announcement. Don't get involved in wrestling unless you are supposed to. Now, that being said, he was stopped immediately by security. From afar, the guy looks like Howard Finkel, but I know it wasn't. And the security was stopping him, and Rusev got up and Muay Thai kicked the guy right in the face. This is great heat. Great, great heat. Say what you want about it. If you're talking about it, then obviously it got under your skin, and it did exactly what it was intended to do. It was intended to piss you off as an American wrestling fan. And obviously I have people that watch these videos that are not from America. So this is going to be completely lost on you. But I understand that. You're probably looking at this feud as A, I don't care, or B, I just want to see Rusev get his comeuppance because I'm tired of him just running his mouth. If you are a regular wrestling fan, you probably just want to see Rusev get beaten up. So it doesn't matter if he talked down America or anything like that. It's basically down to the fact that you just want to see Rusev get punched in the face. It doesn't matter who does it, just as long as someone does. You put your faith in Jack Swagger, you got shut down. You put your faith in Mark Henry, you got shut down. You're putting your faith in the Big Show, you're going to get shut down, but at least the Big Show is going to get something more than anybody else has. Because obviously he has the height, weight, and strength advantage in this match. But I digress. So, after this is all over, we got a commercial break. The guy does a stretcher job. He bombs out. Big Show's in the ring. And he's got the mic. And I'm like, oh God. Big Show crying again. This isn't fun. See, there are certain lines you don't cross. You don't disrespect a soldier ever. And Rusev, you want my attention? Well, young man, my head is a dangerous place. And I'm going to unleash my wrath all over your head. At Hell in a Cell, your 15 minutes in the WWE are up. This right here was something that I haven't seen in this program yet, and that is me actually have a reason to care about the Big Show. I know he's going to lose on Sunday, and probably decisively, but maybe not, because I think what's going to end up happening on Sunday, I think we get we obviously this Sunday we're leading towards, with what happened on SmackDown, which is what I talked about yesterday. With what happened on SmackDown, I think Mark Henry does get involved. I think Mark Henry does end up costing Big Show the match. Inadvertently. So we're not pulling the trigger on the Mark Henry heel turn. I know what you're saying. He just turned face. Yeah, you're right, but Mark Henry is a 10 times better heel than his face. And I would be more than happy to see Mark Henry work with the Big Show again because it keeps both of them out of the main event picture for the time being. I don't mind Mark Henry being in the main event picture. I have no problems with it. His Hall of Pain, his heel stuff, gold. Absolutely incredible. Big Show, yeah, don't care. But this actually got me to care. And it's not really what was done. It's just the fact that it got the crowd really hyped for this. And the crowd wants to see Rusev get his comeuppance. And Big Show's not going to be able to do it, so who's the man that's going to stop the Big Show? Well, stop the Big Show. Obviously Rusev. Who's the man that's going to be able to stop Rusev from dismantling everyone on the roster? Nobody knows. And it looks to me like they're really building to this Rusev-John Cena match at WrestleMania that they've been talking about doing. And I think that that's probably the right direction to go if they're really going to go that way. But you got to continuously build Rusev as a killer. And have him beat the Big Show unmercifully is exactly what needs to happen. I mean, he needs to start injuring people. Obviously not for real, but I mean, he needs to start, like, hurting people to prove that he is a force to be reckoned with. And Big Show's got way too much over on this. And I get that, because obviously you got to have the heel show a little ass so they can come back and they can screw the face and tick all the crowd off. And then the crowd was like, "Arr!" It's like, "Oh, I hate that guy so much. I want to see him get beaten up." And then when he finally does, the fans are going to go crazy for it. And that's how you make money. You have to build anticipation, build anticipation, build anticipation. And finally, after the heel runs away, the heel finally does dastardly means, use the ropes or tights or weapons or a distraction or a manager or anything like that. in the end, when the babyface finally goes over, you're going to have made a lot of money going into that and going through from this moment forward. And that's exactly what needs to happen. This actually got me to care about Big Show and Rusev more than just the fact that I want to see Rusev destroy the Big Show. But yeah, this actually worked pretty well for me. So, we go on. Since I've got 4 pages... Actually, yeah, I have 4 pages of freaking notes for this show because there's so much talking. So, after this is over, he calls out Rusev. He says, "You want America? Come get some. You won't come out? I'll go get you myself." So he goes to the back, and the guy, of course, points out Rusev's dressing room, which is a very nondescript dressing room with the word Rusev on it. Show kicks the door down, and no, Lana's not standing there in her unmentionables. No, it's just basically an empty locker room. Nobody there. So that's the end of that segment. We see Dean Ambrose in the back, and he is watching See No Evil 2, eating popcorn, and John Cena walks in, and of course, he spooks him, and of course he drops his popcorn. Cena, of course, known as Superman, and Ambrose likes to call himself Batman, even though he does wear a cape from time to time. Sorry, Ambrose, you're not really Batman. Batman kind of left the company drinking a Pepsi along the way. And when it comes down to it, you're simply put, you're more like the Joker. Cena actually calls him the Joker, and that's the first time it's ever been referenced on WWE television. Because, obviously, John Cena is the all-American boy, he's red, white, and blue, he's truth, justice, the American way, and basically Dean Ambrose just likes to beat up scumbags. Perfect description of Superman and Batman. So, the fact remains they don't mix. And how are we going to handle this? Cena asks, and Dean's like, well, we're just going to start punching anything that moves, and we're going to take everyone down that we can. And that's the end of that. When Cena calls him the Joker, he says, why so serious? And he eats some popcorn. I like this. I like this a lot. I like the interaction between John Cena and Dean Ambrose on this. I think it worked pretty well. Our next match is Brie Bella taking on Summer Rae. Brie, of course, in action against her sister Nikki at Hell in a Cell in a loser becomes the winner's personal assistant for a month. And if she does not do so, she is fired. So, yay. I really want to see more Summer Rae wrestling, and I don't really see it very much. The stuff that she did on NXT, which was really good, it seems like it's kind of been pushed back in WWE. I don't like it. Where's Fandango? Seriously. It's starting to tick me off at this point. I don't know why Fandango's not on my television anymore. If they're gonna repurpose Johnny Curtis and do something different with him, that's fine. But I miss the Fandango character, and I wish they'd do something with it. So, Summer Rae with a modified Cobra Clutch. I need to drink here because I know where we're going on the next segment. Brie punches her way out, gets sent down. Summer covers 1 count only, goes back to the Cobra Clutch. She gets dragged off and double hair takedown. Forearm, forearm, forearm comes off the ropes. Clothesline, standing dropkick from Brie, and the running knee across the bottom rope. Goes for a Brie mode, gets swat off 1-2. Summer Rae only gets a 2 off of that. Stomps Brie, whip in reverse. Brie mode off the middle rope, does connect. Bella Factor gets the 3 count, and that's the end of the match. Nothing more, nothing less. We see Dean Ambrose dragging 2 big garment bags, presumably to the ring, and that looks like it's going to be our next segment. So Ambrose comes out dragging bags. He sets a chair in the ring, and he says Sunday he finally gets Seth Rollins inside the cell, something he's wanted for the longest time. He opens the bag, he pulls out a duffel bag, and he pulls out a mannequin dressed like Seth Rollins. He sits it in a chair and starts talking to it, basically giving it the interrogation room scene. He says, you're nothing but an authority puppet. Yeah, I get that. Talks to it, and he basically rips off the hand, and he slaps the dummy with his own hand. You're smart, you're no dummy. He pulls out weapons. He says there's a big screw in the face, and of course, he puts this big screw in his face. He takes a hammer to hammer it home, and he says, I saw something in my dream about chopping off her testicles, but the authority kind of already owned those. He pulls out a hacksaw, by the way. And he says, how much testicular fortitude do you have left? He pulls out tongs. He goes to the dummy's nether regions, which, of course, nowhere. Pile drives the dummy for no reason, and the wig falls off. Rollins, Joey Mercury, and Jamie Noble come out. Congrats, you finally have found an opponent that you can relate to intellectually. You'll never be me. And how about you take your comedy and you can maybe open up for Carrot Top or Gallagher or Louis C.K. One of these things is not like the other. And Ambrose uses the dummy's hand that he ripped off and starts clapping hands. And he tosses it at Rollins. He says Rollins sold out, and Rollins says, you know what, I did sell out, but I knew I was destined for greatness. I am rich, I am somebody, and I am famous. I sold the Shield out, I sold Dean Ambrose out, and I'd never take anything back that I did. So what? See, I'm saving the worst for Hell in a Cell. And I know there's a match tonight, Ambrose says, but I have no problem giving the fans a preview. Rollins don't sweat Ambrose none, or the drill he has currently in his hands, or even Hell in a Cell itself. Very familiar music plays. Here comes Mick Foley. Surprise, surprise, no one knew this was going to happen. I just came by to visit an old friend, he looks up at the cell. Congrats on fulfilling your destinies. I'm watching, even on the network, watch Raw, SmackDown, and I watch on the network for an undisclosed amount of money every month, which is hilarious, by the way. He talks about his daughter Noelle and how she saw something in the Shield, and she came back watching the Shield for the first time saying, the Shield are amazing! And Mick Foley watched the Shield grow and decimate person after person after person. They were dominant, but they wanted to see something more. Foley wanted to see Ambrose and Rollins face-to-face, head-to-head. And every single time, almost every single time, he envisioned Rollins winning. Rollins gets in the ring and is like, yeah, I knew there was something in you, like, I'm like an old dinosaur who wears Santa stuff all the time, who makes a mockery of his legacy. See, Foley lets him see the big picture and says, you know what, I said almost every scenario, because the cell, it is a different scenario itself. It's not an ordinary scenario. See, the cell gives Ambrose the tools to do what he said he was going to do, and that is rip off the face of Seth Rollins. This is the 300th day that Mick Foley has worn Santa attire, because he's proud of that night inside the cell back at King of the Ring. He has scars, and soon Ambrose and Rollins will have more scars that they will not heal from. Emotional ones that will not ever heal. Ambrose isn't worried about scars, because he has his share of his own, and he'll have a lot more when it's all said and done. He says no one in the locker room understands him, but Mick Foley seems to be the one person that may just get him, that may be able to figure him out like no one else can. Were you ready, Seth? Ask yourself. Rollins says, you know what, you're both crazy. If you think that's what it takes, you're simply mistaken. I'm going to beat you. You're down here, and I'm right up here, way above you. It's not about how crazy you are, it's about how smart you are. Foley says this match will define you. My life is all about pre-sell and post-sell. See, I'm not sure if you comprehend what I'm saying. Sunday, you'll get your match. The match of your life. Have a nice day. Foley bombs out. Ambrose swings a chair. Rollins gets a dummy tossed at him, and they toss the dummy to Rollins, Noble, and Mercury on the floor, and that's the end of the segment. Alright. Well, that was interesting, to say the least. I enjoyed that, actually. So, he came out, and I was not anticipating what was going to happen. No one did, at this point. I had to make sure I had my notes ready for this. This is a lot to take in. So, this started out a little wacky, a little strange, but once it picked up, when Mick Foley came out there, and we got Mick Foley and Dean Ambrose on the mic against each other, even though they weren't necessarily against each other, it was still something we wanted to see for a long time. Obviously, there was supposed to be a Foley-Ambrose program, but it didn't quite come to fruition like we wanted it to. Even though both men wanted it, it's just Foley's body couldn't do it. And then he still went to TNA. So, I like this a lot. And it's really putting more emphasis on how important these Hell in a Cell matches are on Sunday. With Mick Foley coming out and saying, you know what, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You don't know what emotionally and physically scars that will be put on you in this match. Like, this is a match that changes a man. Excuse me. And I like how Rollins and Ambrose both played off Foley, and it worked really well for me. Really interested to see what happens when the two former members of the Shield tear each other's heads off on Sunday night. Very excited about that match. Their next match is non-title. It is the Intercontinental Champion Dolph Ziggler taking on Cesaro. This match was really good as well, but kind of a misstep from normal matches between these two. So he comes off the ropes, goes for a sunset flip, double goozle by Cesaro, picks him up in a military press, and Malenko style drops him into a gutbuster. 1-2 and a kick out. He's on the middle rope, and I don't mean in the corner. I mean on the side of the middle rope, and he basically crowns Dolph. He climbs the middle rope on another side and hits a nice elbow and gets a 2 off of that. He locks in the Shinamaki, and Dolph punches his way out, gets tossed in the corner, backdrop, he lands on the ring apron. Cesaro with the neck snap, goes up top and gets caught, dives off, and of course, Dolph nails him with a Pillman counter. Ducks the clothesline, and leaping clothesline from Dolph, and another clothesline, charging splash in the corner, reverse neck breaker, heart stopper elbow, 1-2, and a kick out. Comes off the ropes, goes for the name dropper, gets caught for a power bomb, and he gets caught into a very awkward Rana, gets a 2 off of that. Cesaro goes for the Tiger Driver, gets countered into the Z-Factor, 1-2, and a kick out, shoves him off to the corner, and he charges in. Dolph gets the elbow up, goes for the exclamation point DDT. Cesaro charges off, catches the super kick, spins him around, and Cesaro dims his running lights with a sick Swiss uppercut and gets the 3 off of that. Match over, and as soon as it's all said and done, Cesaro adds more insult to injury by laying out the Intercontinental Champion once more with a neutralizer. So we're building towards the Intercontinental title match at Sunday's pay-per-view, a match I've been talking about happening for a while, which I'm pretty sure they'll announce officially on SmackDown on Friday. If they don't make the announcement tomorrow on Main Event, I think they actually might make the announcement on Main Event tomorrow. And you can check that out on the WWE Network. So after this is over, we have Randy Orton, Kane, and Seth Rollins. They're all arguing, and Triple H is like, no, you know what? Both Orton and Rollins, you guys can't be put in charge, because obviously you hate each other. So Kane, you're the general tonight. And Kane, of course, yells. He says, the end on Sunday will begin tonight. Let's take care of business. Really awesome by-the-numbers Hell in a Cell promo. And I don't mean like by-the-numbers as in like just by-the-numbers. I mean literally by-the-numbers, talking about the numbers involving Hell in a Cell. Kind of like what they do with the Royal Rumble every year, adding more intrigue to the match itself. And I'm really interested to see where we go with that. Same Wyatt promo airs, and interesting placement on the Wyatt promos, airing before the main events. Like I said, I wonder, will we see Bray, Rowan, and Harper at Hell in a Cell on Sunday? I think it's a really good chance that's going to happen. Main event time. 5 minutes before the top of the hour, we get John Cena and Dean Ambrose taking on Seth Rollins, Kane, and Randy Orton in a handicap street fight. We come off the commercial break. Rollins with an elbow right straight between the eyes of Ambrose, pulls up on the nose, and he's grabbing at the nose, and of course, in this case, Ambrose bites the hand that is trying to pull his nose apart. So, Rollins goes crazy, starts stomping away. Orton tags himself in, picks him up in a suplex, and of course, he hangs him out to dry right across the top rope. Tagged back into Rollins, right hand backs him into the corner, repeated elbows from Rollins, and Ambrose tries to punch his way out of the corner, but gets cut off by Rollins. Rollins steps on his throat for good measure, tags Orton in, he stomps the foot, gets a 1 count off of it. Stomp to the back, and then he starts working him over with the Garvin Stomp, makes a cover 1-2 and a kick out. He strides to punch away, and Ambrose catches him with the snap jabs, knocking him all the way to the corner, but he gets stopped with a straight boot in the midsection. Whip in, charges in, Ambrose gets the boot up, goes up top, missile dropkick, connects, tags in John Cena, tagging to Seth Rollins, ducks the clothesline, shoulder block, protobomb, 5-knuckle shuffle, goes for the AA, and This time, Kane gets in the ring to interrupt, and Kane eats the AA from Cena. Cena grabs a table, gets it, and puts it on the ring, sets it up. AA on Rollins, and once again, Rollins smartly shoves the table over so we can't go through it. The AA doesn't connect either. Seth sends Cena face first, and top of the head first, actually, into the steel chair that is placed between the top and middle turnbuckles, basically setting up your own demise. That's how it works. Goes out of the ring, we see Randy Orton whip Dean Ambrose hard into the ring steps, and Kane basically nails Cena with, sorry, went ahead of myself. Kane nails Dean with the steps, back in the ring. Rollins sets up the table in the corner. Cena goes for the AA. Rollins lands on his feet, hits the Skywalker to Cena 1-2 and a kick out, and tags in Kane. Kane drags Cena all the way to the floor, sends Cena over the announce table, whips him hard in the steps, and then posts him, tosses him in, tosses him through the table in the corner, so Cena's down and out. He boots Ambrose when he tries to get back in, knocks him off the apron. So Kane says, "Drop the cell." So the cell starts dropping and dropping and dropping, and it's about to drop when Ambrose rolls underneath and he's in the ring. So he's not going to leave Cena hanging here. So Cena gets caught with a right hand, and tagging Ambrose finally comes in, goes up top, flying body press on all three, even though they barely all got in a position on time. Clotheslines Kane and Seth Rollins over the top to the floor, whip in reverse, ducks the clothesline, and straight front drop kick sends Rollins off the ring apron into the cell. And nice stiff St. Louis uppercut from Orton knocks him back into the ropes, and of course that connects with a jawbreaker lariat. So Ambrose grabs a Singapore cane from under the ring and starts caning away on Orton, hits the White Russian leg sweep on Orton, gets a steel chair, goes up to the middle, hits the Cactus Jack hip buster with the chair, and he's about ready to finish off Orton. Stopped by a goozle from Kane. He eats the chair in the ribs, does Kane. Orton low bridge, goes over the top rope to the floor. Ambrose backdrops Rollins on top of Orton on the floor. Rollins gets hit with a tope, sending him hard into the steel, and Orton sends Ambrose into the ring post, rolls him in, and AA to Orton, and he lands on his feet. Kane goes for the choke slam on Cena, and Ambrose with a double arm DDT on Kane, and Jawbreaker Lariat is stopped with the RKO. 1, 2, 3, and Randy Orton gets the victory, and he stands tall. But before he's able to actually stand tall, Seth Rollins comes in, the opportunistic Seth Rollins, and curb stomps Randy Orton, leaving him laying. Rollins at top of the cell celebrates, and that's how we go home on the Hell in a Cell Go Home edition of Monday Night Raw. Okay, really hyped for the pay-per-view now, even more so than I was. If I could recommend things on this show, I recommend all the promos. The promos were gold. Sheamus and the Usos against Stardust, Goldust, and Damien Mizdow in this case. I enjoyed that match. It was a nice little fun match. I would recommend Rusev and Big E. I've seen better matches between the two, but this was a serviceable match. I enjoyed it for what it was, even though it was rather short. I would say that Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro have had better matches, but it was pretty good for what it was. I definitely enjoyed the main event, even though that they gave away the Cell interaction a week before Hell in a Cell, which, okay. So, sometimes that doesn't make much sense, but I like Paul Heyman coming out tonight. I liked Mick Foley coming out tonight. I think that this was a really good edition of Raw, and I very much enjoyed it. What's going to happen with the Wyatts leading into Hell in a Cell and afterwards? Are the Ascension going to make their debut? What's going to happen? Is there going to be more matches announced on SmackDown this week, or on Main Event tomorrow, or today, since this is Tuesday's video? I don't know at this point, and I'm really interested to see what happens, because I got Hell in a Cell on Sunday, and of course the WWE Today Live podcast on Sunday as well, so yeah. Big pack day for Suro and Disney on Sunday. Don't have to go to Athens this week, so that's a good thing. So yeah, that was an entertaining edition of Raw. So yeah, I'd recommend most of the stuff on the show. It was pretty good, and building me towards a pay-per-view that doesn't necessarily need to happen, but apparently needs to happen. If that makes any sense at all. So, wrestling fans, you can join me yet again next week when we're going to be talking about Hell in a Cell, as well as this past week's NXT and SmackDown. And I say this past week's as in basically talking in the future, because NXT and SmackDown, I will try to get that video out on Saturday to coincide with the pay-per-view on Sunday, so it won't be Monday's video. Monday actually may be something else. Actually, Monday will probably be the Hell in a Cell video that I'll shoot on Sunday night. That's what we're looking at right now. Unless I do the podcast on Sunday night, and then Monday I watch Hell in a Cell, and I do the recap on Monday, so it's Monday's video. That makes perfect sense. That's probably what's going to happen. Either way, you're going to get Hell in a Cell on Monday, and our Raw recap, of course, will be next Tuesday night. Continuation on Pop this week. Of course, tomorrow we've got the vlog of randomness coming up tomorrow. Thursday will be the first edition of Sip and Snack. We're going to talk a little bit about Surge. We're going to mention a couple of things. Actually, there's going to be Hostess Twinkies, which I've never had before. At least I don't remember having them. And a few other things. So some snack food, some Surge. And that's going to be your video for Thursday. Of course, Friday, AJ's movie reviews. We're going to be talking about Kill the Messenger, which we watched on Sunday, as well as the movies we're getting this week, which are Ouija, John Wick, and out of nowhere, we got St. Vincent. And there's a couple other films that are going to be coming in that as well. Saturday, Gaming with Ash, and of course, sounds like some of the NXT and SmackDown on Saturday. And Sunday, of course, we're going to end our scary-themed verses with our code name of Game. So yeah, that's going to end versus, and of course we have Monday go right back into Hell in a Cell recap and Raw on Tuesday, and then we do it all over again starting next week. So in the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about Pop. If you haven't yet, go to Facebook, click like on our Facebook fan page, which I'm in the midst of trying to figure out how to put the new videos on top, so I don't have videos from like 2 years ago on there. I know I need them on there, but I need to have the new stuff on top so you guys can get access to the new stuff right away. You can do that at Suro and Disney Pop on Facebook. You want to go old school on Facebook, send me your friend request. It is Owen Disney on Facebook. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Suro and Disney. And if you'd like to talk wrestling with me, or if you'd like to talk theme parks with me, either Disney or Universal, or if you'd like to talk Halloween Horror Nights with me, even though the event's about over, we can still talk Halloween Horror Nights, no issues there. You can ask me questions if you'd like, if you have versus ideas, you have ideas you want to see on the channel. If you want to become a popcaster yourself, you can send me an email, suroanddisney@gmail.com. So in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.